Alright, what's up homies? Welcome back to another review from the Khaiza, and this time let's just drop it like it's hot, right? We're gonna be reviewing Daredevil. We're gonna be reviewing the blind lawyer from Hell's Kitchen that does, you know, kung fu, jujitsu, all that shit, right? Oh my god, wow. When I heard, well, this goes like way back, right? Daredevil, I remember like the first movie way back when with like Ben Affleck as the titular character, and I think that movie came out in like 2005-ish, 2003. It was not bad, right? It was not bad. This was like early like Marvel, and early Marvel was super like into the X-Men, into Spider-Man, and they were also experimenting with other movies like Blade and Daredevil, right? And Daredevil's especially like one of them. I think like that Daredevil movie was, I think I still have the movie here, right? I don't know like where it's at. I don't know where it's at in my my shelf. If I look through like my eyes a bit, right here. Yeah, I still have the Daredevil 2000. I think this is 2005, right? Case. I still have the case, right? Ben Affleck as Matt Murdock. Jennifer Gardner as Elektra. Then we have like in the back right here where it's like Colin Farrell as Bullseye and the late Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin right here, right? So this movie was like the first like live action Daredevil. It was PG-13, and after that, I don't know how well it did on the box office. I'm sure it did good. I don't like, you know, the suit itself, right? But I definitely like dug what Daredevil like was, and I kind of like became a fan ever since. And this was like before the MCU-ness of Marvel. After the MCU, I think it was like after Iron Man and the commercial success that it brought, and of course, the first Avengers movie. It was fucking star-studded cast, right? It was the first comic book movie to actually, you know, make bucks, you know, outside of maybe critically acclaimed ones that have been in like an Oscars or Academy Awards, like let's say The Dark Knight, right? Dark Knight was there. That came out in like 2007, 2008, so that was before Avengers, right? But yeah, like after Age of Ultron, then came like the Netflix wave of Marvel characters, or as they would call it, street level heroes, right? And the first one among them was Daredevil, which came out in 2015. Matt Murdock, again, blind lawyer from Hell's Kitchen, fights as a vigilante and against like the forces of corruption and evil on New York City, and ultimately fights villains like Kingpin, Elektra, Bullseye, right? Daredevil had 3 seasons, and Daredevil was kind of like their Iron Man, right? Daredevil sparked other series to get greenlit and have their own TV series. After Daredevil season, I think 1 or 2, no, I think it was after season 2, was Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, then Iron Fist, and then they all come together, and that was their TV show version of Avengers, The Defenders. And then after that, we got Jessica Jones season 2, and then Luke Cage season 2. Yeah, Daredevil Jessica Jones is like the only one that got like season 3. Yeah, other than Daredevil. Yeah, season 3. And then we had Luke Cage season 2, Iron Fist season 2, and then we had like the Punisher, and Punisher got like 2 seasons. Punisher got like introduced in season 2 of Daredevil, right? So yeah, this was like Netflix's version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe until they like delisted all of those like shows. Bummer to like all those actors, but once like Marvel we reacquired like those rights and gave them in like hints in other movies and TV shows. The most infamous one of Daredevil's like return and inclusion into the MCU was Spider-Man No Way Home, right? Where Peter was dealing with like everyone knows that Spider-Man is Spider-Man. Spider-Man is Peter Parker, just this like high school kid. You know? So yeah, like that was the first instance where like, oh, Daredevil is, you know, back and he's being included into the MCU. And then we got another instance of Daredevil in the She-Hulk TV series, right? I like reviewed that show so many years ago, right? It was all right. It was, I don't know if I were to call it like pandering, but it just like didn't amount to anything, you know? Like I heard something. It didn't like amount to anything, you know? All it had was like, you know, cameos from Benedict Wong, you know, Mark Ruffalo, Hulk. We even got like Abomination in there, but I knew She-Hulk was like a break the fourth wall character like Deadpool, but ain't no way she beating like Deadpool though. Deadpool is like, you know, mastercraft of that shit. Right? Not saying that she did, like, you know, she didn't do a good job, but it was so, like, tacky. It was so, like, forced. It, like, Daredevil was in it, and she made, like, fun of Daredevil, being, like, you know, the joke that, like, he sleeps around with, like, a lot of, like, girls, you know? Same with, like, Peter Parker in that aspect, but so is, like, She-Hulk, so they played, like, you know, the reverse. Right? You know, She-Hulk in canon sleeps around with a lot of like guys. You know, but I get like what they're doing. You know, that's cute. Like they played like the reverse card with like Daredevil, but that was like the second instance that we saw Daredevil in the MCU. You know, and then we got word that Daredevil is going to get, you know, his returnal. As a TV series, and it was going to be called Daredevil Born Again. And, you know, Disney Plus TV shows outside of, I think, like WandaVision, or What If, were like always listed as 6 episodes or even like 7. They're very like short, and it's very like, you know, wrong. Because some shows definitely should get their money's worth with 9 to even like 10 episodes. Moon Knight especially. I'm still looking at you, Marvel, for Moon Knight season 2, man. What the fuck? I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on that shit. You know? There's also that. And the fact that like oh. And the fact that like Marvel like shows have been kind of like, you know, missed for the most part, you know. Nobody likes Secret Invasion. A few people liked the What If scenarios. I just didn't like it because of their animation style. But yeah, the other shows that Marvel has put out, they can be like hit or miss, especially like, you know, after like, you know, Infinity War, after Thanos, right? it's like the constant like what was it? The Marvel like psychological cycle, as I would like to call it. A movie comes out, it will be a hit. A TV show comes out, it will be a miss. Or like, you know, it doesn't have to be either or, right? Like I think we had Ant-Man was like a what was it? I forgot like the sequential like list. Let me look it up, right? Let me look up this shit. Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let me just go. The Multiverse Saga Phase 4. No orange. What about the tie? Going out and asking, right? Yeah, okay, sure. Close the door, Mom. Oh, thank God, Mom brought me tea. Oh my God. Alright, we can work a little bit better now. Alright, so what were like the films, right? What were like some like hits or what were like some hits or misses, you know? Oh, for films, Black Widow, meh. Shang-Chi, great. Eternals, meh. Spider-Man, No Way Home, yay. Doctor Strange, in the middle. Thor, Love and Thunder, meh. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, very good, right? Sad, but very good. To a T. And then for TV shows, WandaVision, very good. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, also good. Loki, also really good. What If in between. Hawkeye in between. Moon Knight, very good. Miss Marvel, eh. And She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, meh. Right? That was like Phase 4. And Phase 5 was all of their movies, and they had like very little, right? Which were very few in film, but let's see Phase 5 films. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, meh. Guardians of the Galaxy, good. The Marvels, meh. Like that. Deadpool and Wolverine, abso-fucking-lutely. Captain America, I have not seen it, but from what I've heard, it's like, it's alright. I don't know what's going to happen with like Thunderbolts. I'm probably going to give it a meh as well, because it's like, yeah, their version of Suicide Squad, I don't think it will be like hitting unless you're like a super big like Marvel nut, right? And TV shows, oh man, they had plenty. Loki, season 2, awesome. Oh, sorry. Secret Invasion, meh. Loki, season 2, amazing. What If, season 2 and 3? Oh, wow. I didn't know they did like 3. It's a meh as well. Echo, I didn't know she was part of like Hawkeye, but I also give her a meh. Agatha, all along, I haven't seen, but I heard like some stuff was like tied to like Scarlet Witch. It was alright. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which is the animated one, that looks a little bit better than What If. And then we have Daredevil, right? Born Again, season 1. And next we have Ironheart. So that's like all of their TV shows, right? And then we'll get to like seasons. Phase 6. Phase 6, which is going to have like 4 films in Phase 6 spanning from 2025 to 2027. 2 of them being the big like Avengers movies. Doomsday and Secret Wars, and a Spider-Man movie called Brand New Day. And of course, the Fantastic Four movie, right? The First Steps, which will come out July 25th. I'm going to be seeing that with Mom. I don't know about day 1, but maybe like a week later or something like that. Probably we'll do it on like a Tuesday for Discount Tuesdays. But yeah, a lot of like the Marvel shows as of like up to date with Daredevil have been kind of like hit or miss, and it's always been like that, you know, back and forth cycle between Marvel is back, Marvel is dead. Like, you know, it's definitely one of those things where like, yeah, especially in this TV show, I think like in terms of TV shows, this is like definitely like a banger, because it brought back, you know, it is a continuation of Daredevil season 3, after season 3 from the Netflix era. So you get to see like all your characters like Matt, Foggy, Karen, and then you get to see villains with Vanessa Fisk and Wilson Fisk, right? And all these like other characters that are like in play, and some of them like even like new gen, right? That are like callbacks from the OG Netflix series, you know? Right? So, and more specifically with like Daredevil, we heard rumors that it's going to be a 2-season series. Or, sorry, originally it was going to be 18 episodes, right? 18 episodes of Deadpool? That's insane! That's fucking insane! Until we later saw more development for Daredevil Season 2, that it was going to be grouped into 2 seasons. Season 1 being 9 episodes, and then the next season will be like another like 9 episodes as well. So we unfortunately have to wait for another season, and that second season will come out next year, which I've heard they're going to be doing it like around, you know, an earlier time frame than, you know, this one, which is going to be early to mid 2026, you know. So unfortunately, 9 episodes. I mean, this is all that like we're getting. This is like, you know, literally like the monkey's paw sort of thing. Yeah, Daredevil is back, but hold on, you greedy kids. Let's just start with season 1, get you primed up, and start you off with 9 episodes just to get you with the feel of Daredevil, right? I wish it was 18 episodes straight through, right? But we'll explain like why as we discuss like, you know, the story, the plot, right? And we'll try to be like comprehensive, because I'm like trying to like, you know, keep an eye on the timer and try to make it, you know, less than a half hour, right? So here goes. So not immediately picks up. We see our beloved cast and crew, the Nelson Murdoch Page attorney firm, hanging out at like Josie's, until suddenly Bullseye from season 3 starts shooting up at Josie's, right? We don't know why he's doing it, but he shot down Foggy, right? Daredevil fights Bullseye, but Foggy is dead. And because of the tragedy that happened, is like, yeah, Foggy dead, Matt and Karen are not speaking to each other. Matt throws Bullseye off of like a rooftop. He survives, but then gets sentenced in jail for like life. And this all happened in like a year ago, in the movie's time frame. After a year, things have like changed. Matt is like in a new law firm now, with another like lawyer doing good lawyering, things like that, and has abandoned the Daredevil mantle because he killed somebody technically. So he's done with Daredevil shit for good until some episodes. And then we hear Wilson Fisk coming back. And Wilson Fisk has like been around as well, right? Wilson Fisk has been in Hawkeye as providing for Bishop's like mom, and you know, having a nurturing quote unquote support for Maya, or Echo, right? Echo being like her own show and shit like that. And Wilson Fisk got shot in the fucking eye. right? And then he magically grew that eye back via technology or some shit like that. And he announces that he's going to be running for mayor. Mayor Fisk, or Mayor Wilson Fisk, or Mayor Kingpin. He succeeds. And this is when, you know, things start to turn very escalated really fast, right? The first instance, after like episode 1, then with episode 2, which is like the Hector Ayala case, right? Which is like Hector Ayala, or, you know, for, you know, very like keen like Marvel fans, White Tiger. White Tiger tried to stop a scuffle of corrupt cops, pushed one cop over over a train, dies, and then becomes a whole court case about it. Eventually, you know, with the power of Matt Murdock, right? Blind vigilante lawyer, the case succeeds, but that didn't sit well with the corrupt cops, and one of them shoots Hector Ayala. And Daredevil is astoundingly upset that, like, yo, I did all this work for nothing? The system is still like corrupt, right? So slowly we see like Daredevil slowly accumulating himself back into the Daredevil persona. And likewise, Wilson Fisk, although becoming like mayor, the Kingpin is not gonna stop being Kingpin. He's still gonna make like some shady dealings and illicit, illegal behavior on the side, right? And eventually we'll see the Kingpin's like more truer nature under the facade that like, oh, he's the mayor of Fisk. No one can like stop him, right? So, of course, the Hector Ayala case upsetting like Hector Ayala's family, her niece, I forgot what was her name, Amala, right? I think it was like Amala. Let me see, right? Angela Ayala. Yeah, Angela Ayala. Angela Del Toro. Oh, that's her name. That's right. Okay, Angela Ayala. Angela Ayala, being like the niche says like the cops are bullshit, starts to do like, you know, some vigilante stuff on her own, even though Mayor Fisk has made a strong adamant case on vigilantes himself, shutting down any actions whatsoever. Then we get introduced to like another villain that, yeah, just like is there just for like there, but just for character motivation for Matt and maybe like Fisk. That there's Muse. Muse is like this like very fucked up like serial killer that like abducts people and like draws paintings using like their blood, and he's like a profound artist, and even like attacks like Daredevil's newest like love interest, quote unquote, Heather, who's like a psychologist. And you know, with love relationships with like Matt, unless he like tells them the truth, the secret identity thing is a secret identity, babe. Don't talk shit about it, alright? And of course, Matt is very secretive, you know? He doesn't want other people getting hurt because of his vigilante-like ways. He can't help himself. It's like a drug. You know, he wants to do good, but not in a way that he prefers, but in a way that has to. Right? So, Muse is later dead, shot by one of like the corrupt cops, right? that were a part of Hector Ayala's like death. We also get to see, you know, tie-ins with Punisher. Punisher comes back. Oh my fucking god. Wow, Punisher comes back. It feels like, yo, when this man came on screen, oh my Allah, wow. It brought me memories back to like, you know, season 2 of Daredevil. This shit was like something I love, which is like, you know, the contrast dichotomy between, you know, Daredevil being like, oh, even if they're bad guys, we should like spare their lives because we're better than them. And Punisher's like, nah, fuck that. They're murderous assholes. They kill children, for God's sake. Let's go kill these sons of bitches, right? And in the age that we're at, where everything is like, oh wow, Daredevil being very topical, like on the nose, you know, you have like Task Force, a guy who's very shady, you know, a criminal running for like mayor, right? Very on the nose there. I see you, Marvel. I see you, Marvel. But Punisher comes in and Matt tries to give Punisher like a lead or like a heads up of like what the hell's going on. These Punisher fanboys that are a part of the corrupt police force cult. But at this point they would call them like a cult, you know? They're allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. But and then afterwards we get like some Daredevil like shows, like meeting up with Kamala Khan's like dad, right? And then we get like Daredevil putting on the mantle to take down like Muse, and yeah, Daredevil is like back, you know? He saw that like no matter how much we put these guys like in, you know, due process like law, some shit like that, you know, we're not making lives like any better. Matt like realizes that, which is like, wow, very like spot on, bro. Like, you know, like this is what happens when you try to like do things like, you know, the quote-unquote right way, but you just gotta like do your own way, your own branding of like justice, you know? And so towards like the very end, we see like Bullseye coming back. We see Vanessa Fisk, the wife, right, actually played a role in Foggy's death, making all these illegal deals, right, while her husband was away. We see Heather like being doubtful of Matt, obviously, and we also see what was it? Matt take a shot to save like Fisk that was supposedly from Bullseye for death. And then in the last episode, there's like this big like action scene between well, Bullseye was arrested again after being let out by jail by, you know, connections, right? And Matt and Frank take down the corrupt cops here and there. Karen comes back to help out, right? And she's a permanent resident now that like after the shit that Heather's been dealing with, she decides to side with like Fisk, you know, which is okay. And Daredevil saying we need like an army. Frank Castle gets captured by the Punisher goon squad, you know? And the series ends with Mayor Fisk putting down martial law on New York City against like vigilantes and against vigilantes. And we get a post-credit scene of the Punisher breaking out of jail, and he's going to be back running amok, killing deserving assholes left and right, you know? So that was like Daredevil season 2. I try to like condense it down as much as we can and like do like a Spark Notes version for anybody. You guys can go check out like the full show on Disney Plus. It's all available if you have Disney Plus, right? Now, some like thoughts, some like reviews, some critique, right? The big like critique I would say is that, I said it before, is that yeah, this was like a one season like type of thing. It's only like 9 episodes, you know, so it wasn't really, you know, that crazy because we were promised 18 episodes from like, you know, development hearings, right? Just like coverage hearings on social media here and there of like announcements of Daredevil with like cast and crew coming back, right? Things like that. We were promised 18 episodes, but we only got like the first half of the Daredevil like series, right? Which is their season 2 is going to be at early to mid 2026 as from what I've heard. And yeah, that's like one critique because man, this show is so fucking good. From like characters, from like dialogue, right? From, albeit, you know, the colors were a little bit like off. I was a little bit like thrown off with like, maybe I saw it from like, you know, my TV, or maybe it wouldn't affect like maybe other TVs that I have in like in my house, like my living room TV, which my dad bought a long time ago, or maybe in like my parents' bedroom. They have a TV there. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't affect, right, the viewing, it wouldn't alter the viewing experience because it just looks like Daredevil is not like really vibrant. Like it has like this like this fog filter to make like, you know, some of like those like colors of the show very like muted and like dark. Just like, ugh, what the fuck? But then that's only like in some scenes. Other scenes are like, you know, very vibrant, very colorful. Like when you go to like a graveyard, for instance, or, you know, some of the penultimate scenes with like, you know, colors highlighting Bullseye and reds highlighting Matt Murdock, right? That shit was like beautiful, you know? To highlight, you know, the contrasts of, you know, characters, or to like highlight those like characters, you know? Punisher being like, you know, all black, and then you see like the soul, like, you know, skull symbol like on his chest. Very good and effective use of like, you know, color in specific like scenes, right? Dialogue is also really good, right? Especially like Punisher and Murdock, or Murdock and Fisk, right? Daredevil's internal monologues with like the justice system itself, talking to like clients, right? Like, I mean, dude, this is like the perfect like Daredevil, right? Charlie Cox, even though he's like a foreign actor, when he hears like his real voice, he's like, you know, the Henry Cavill like sort of situation, or Idris Elba, you know? Like these characters, right, don't sound Americanized. It's just like localization tricks to make them sound like, you know, American or other like country of accent, you know? You know, Henry Cavill and Charlie Cox sound like, you know, British, right? So, but still though, Charlie Cox looks like, you know, he is the perfect Daredevil, you know? Just like mannerisms, just like, you know, the way he like, you know, speaks and like talks, like damn bro. Even when he's not like calm or composed, he's like, dude, shouting at like Punisher, he gave life while grieving for like, you know, Foggy, that his best friend like died, you know, things like that, that his world has fallen apart sort of shit. You know? So god damn, man, this shit was like powerful. And in other scenes, like, you know, as well, was like what was it? Heather grilling like Matt, or like the stuff that was going on with Daredevil and Angela Del Toro, the little white tiger. She will soon be like White Tiger, you know, things like that. And also, yeah, it's just very like topical, like on the nose of like, you know, current situation of like what's going on. Not gonna say specifically, but you guys can put like 2 to 2 together that like, you know what is like doing you know what, you know. I'm not gonna say, right? I'm not gonna say. But yeah, like Daredevil was a really good show, like through and through, right? I just love, like, you know, it just brought me back to like old school era, like I think like 2010s Netflix shows that were slowly like becoming a thing in the market, slowly like becoming mainstream, that like, yeah, Daredevil or like Netflix can put out like some really like good shit, you know, especially when it's tied to like, you know, maybe like the Marvel logo, or maybe even like a powerful like, you know, IP. Damn, this shit good. But it's all like a gamble though, right? Daredevil is definitely like one of those like gambles. Of course, there were like, you know, some worse ones with the Marvel cross Netflix crossover series. Iron Fist is definitely one of them. I remember, like, you know, yo, I was so excited for I was so excited for Iron Fist. Holy shit. I remember liking Iron Fist in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. That was like my sole reason for liking Iron Fist. But then the show came out and it was just like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Now you have introductions like the hand and shit, and then you have like, you know, Danny Rand being portrayed in the show with the given script. It's like, yo, what the fuck are these guys like saying? Yo, who the hell is this? Like, what was it, Mika or Mitchell or whatever. Then there's like, you know, Danny Rand's like adopted from the family, and then there's like love interest, and then there's like, you know, this like little Indian guy that trained with him with the Iron Fist and becomes like a villain or something, you know, like it's just all over the place. And then everybody has like, you know, chi powers. Now there's like chi like guns. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? What the sweet merciful crap is going on? I didn't like Iron Fist. I know there's some people that do like Iron Fist, but you can't tell me that like some of the choices that they made, or like the pacing, the narrative is like, you know, that's all good. They got like cool fights. That's all we're gonna give it. We only see like a few like instances of the Iron Fist, but it's the Netflixification, right? You're not gonna see like crazy like superpower big budget stuff like all the time in these Netflix shows, you know? You're only gonna see like that, but in the smallest of instances, right? That's what I don't like about, like, you know, the Netflixification of like shows, you know? Like, another instance like Avatar, right? Even though Avatar did pretty good, but it's like you're trying to adapt like a kids show, right? Kids to teenagers show into a live action series with serious dialogue and characters kind of like maybe swearing and cussing. It's not gonna like work that well for like Avatar. You can try, but it's not gonna land, you know? Avatar live action did their best effort to explore like character dynamics, which is a good thing. That's like a good quality of Netflixification. The serious, like, you know, dialogue. But then there are like some choices like where they like adapt to like, you know, try to like, you know, fit that branding model. It's like, yeah, I remember hearings of like, let's say like Avatar, since like the new season is going to be coming soon with casting like Toph, for instance, has been confirmed. That Toph is going to be, from what I've heard, is that she's going to be more feminine than more brass and abrasive, which kind of like drew Avatar fans, you know, off, because that's the whole character of Toph. right? She's supposed to be a tomboy. She's supposed to be, you know, this rough girl with like rough edges. She comes from a very like traditional family, but she wanted to break out of that family until she like, you know, she picked up like tricks and habits as a means of like, you know, making their parents happy, but did it make her happy? I don't think so. Right? And of course, there was like instances like that before in the Avatar live action, like, you know, we can't have Sokka being like a super sexist asshole, right? So we're gonna make him more like tame to you know, please like audiences, but that's Sokka's character. You know, not saying, you know, right, sexist, you know, behavior, it isn't like good, it's bad, but you gotta understand, this is the character growth of like Sokka. He starts off being a pig-headed, but then he later, like, you know, yo, I respect women. Yo, mashallah, I respect women, right? But that's like Sokka. And then they have like, you know, like contradictory statements, like, you know, we're not gonna show Sokka being mean to women, but we can show the genocide of the airbenders. Like, the airbender, like, you know, annihilation happened like off screen. You only see like burning temples. Yeah, they just went above and beyond with the Netflix live action. Like, actually, like, you know, you see children, little air nomads, like, you know, huddling like in the corner as they face their Fire Lord, like, you know, oppressors. Like, what the fuck? What are you trying to say here, Netflix? Like, the fuck? It was... I'm gonna get penalized for this. It was funny when I watched it like with my friends. Right? You get to see like fire effects and shit, like, oh god, oh god, oh damn. Yo, these guys are cruel. Firebenders don't play around. So yeah, like, it's like an example of Netflixification, you know? Like, it like carries on over because that's like Daredevil's like soul in Daredevil, because that's like Daredevil's like soul, right? It was born in the Netflix, molded by the Netflix. I didn't see Disney till I was but a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding sort of shit, right? and then Disney, they actually, you know, like did a good job with this Daredevil show. Usually, like, Disney kind of like fucks around with like some of their Marvel shits, right? That hence why we got sort of these like mid to low tier TV shows and movies for Marvel. Sort of like, you know, the Disney intervention. Maybe that's like the reason why we got that, like, these Marvel yays and Marvel nays, is probably due to like, most probably due to Disney interference, trying to put their thumb on the comic book money spot. So it was like, maybe Disney should step back a bit. But here with like Daredevil, actually, like, maybe it was all controlled and not a lot of studio interference. Maybe that's why Daredevil was so good. And the fact that it like kept its like TV-14 rating, right? Like, yeah, most of like Marvel films are like pretty much PG-13. We slowly like see like some breadcrumbs about R-rated content in like Infinity War, with like Thanos like snapping, killing people, choking them out, or like, you know, killing what was it, Vision. Daredevil just like accepts that because that's like Netflix like soul. Yo, you get characters like shot, stabbed, shot in the head, even blown out, like fucking beat to death, or even like, you know, fucking Netflix, or sorry, Wilson Fisk, right? Straight up rips apart a man's jaw and squishes like their brain because he is technically like like a mutant because of his supernatural like strength or unreal like strength, shit like that. So yeah, man, like they were pretty hardcore, or they were pretty like accurate with the TV 14 rating, even to the point of like MA with like that last scene of like, yo, just ripping a person's like jaw off, like ugh, like damn, bro. Right? So this is only like the first half, so this will be like, I'm not gonna review the show like until the full season comes out, because we're only getting like for this first season, we only got like an appetizer, right? This is like the first half of the main course that we're about to like indulge and take. Right, season 2, I heard like a lot of like promise that even more OG actors from the Netflix series are gonna come back. Kristen Ritter, Jessica Jones, Mike Coulter, Luke Cage, right? Daredevil's gonna have more of a show, more of a presence than he did with Daredevil season 1, right? It's going to be like 9 episodes. We're gonna bring back like the Defenders, even like Iron Fist to a T, where all 3 of those other Defenders, as I mentioned, expressed interest in returning to Daredevil Born Again. Karen is coming back, and then we heard like the actor for Foggy is going to be coming back, which is like, what the fuck, didn't he die? But I'm pretty sure they have something planned for him. You know. But and then we got like you know, spoilers from like the cast and crew, like, you know, posting some stuff, tie-ins to like, you know, other characters, right? That yeah, this is not the end of this is not the end of Daredevil. There will be like more, and like I said, this is only like the first half. But this like first half this like first half of Daredevil, I will give like a 9 out of 10. It is really like good. Daredevil Born Again season 1 is some like, you know, some good shit. It's like we were brought back like 10 years ago. How old was I at that time? Like, I'm like 30, right? I was like 20 years old when I watched when I watched Daredevil for the first time on Netflix. And like, yeah, this shit was good. It kind of like threw me off with like, you know, the black suit that Daredevil wore, which is like his like costume before he met Melvin Potter and made like the Daredevil costume. But it took a while. It took like, I think it was like 13 like episodes to get to that point, along with like some filler. But yeah, Daredevil season 1 was pretty good. Actually is like a continuation, actually is like a sequel to the Daredevil OG Netflix show. It was really good. It was really good. Then we got more rumors, like maybe like Elektra like coming back, you know, the Elektra from the Netflix like series, not Jennifer Garner, but Elaine like Yon or something like that. So very, very promising, you know, if they're bringing all those actors back and they keep like the pace and the style of like, you know, what happened in like in this show, I'll say spot on. Like, yo, keep cooking, fam. Let him cook. Cause damn, man, Daredevil season 1 was really good. I will say though, as like, you know, talking about like Netflix, I had a much better time than the Devil May Cry anime series. anywhere, anytime I look, are people like maybe glazing the Devil May Cry anime. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? I gave that show like a 6 out of 10, but you know, people are out there that maybe have not played the games. You know, you're allowed to like, you know, like a show, but like, dude, even like that show, if you haven't played like the DMC shows, like what the fuck is that garbage, bro? 6 out of 10 like material. Oh my god. Okay, I'm not gonna talk about it because it will make me angry. Even more angry is that they visionary Adi Shankar, him and his bitch ass, making season 2 of Devil May Cry, because of course he did, because you ended the shit in a fucking cliffhanger, my guy. How the fuck is anyone not gonna like see that? Right? Like, I had a much more better time watching Daredevil right here than I did with Devil May Cry, and it's fuck all horseshit, bro. You know, I will give that. Take that, Adi Shankar, fucker.